just wanted our creative voices to be heard, because we're sitting right in Chicago with labels like Mercury Records and a legacy like Chess and OK and all those labels. And to be a musician and sit, you know, and listen to other people's offerings, and your own are kind of stifled. It's a painful, you know, experience. So when you finally do get, you know, someone who's receiving it, it's very encouraging.
Yeah, cool.
And motivating.
Yeah. You worked with MCA Records for a period. Did you find that was a happy experience?
It was a learning experience. I kind of definitely went into it kind of saying, okay, let me see how this kind of company works. So I took a lot of, you know, ideas from the experience, but I pretty much turned out the way that I expected, where, you know, they kind of sign you saying they want you, and then as soon as you get signed and start saying, well, can you do it kind of Teddy Riley-ish, or can you kind of mold you right into the formulas that they tend to stick to? Yeah,
and like, do you reckon that was a big motivation behind setting up your own label?
Well, the label was set up way before the MCA thing. The first release came out on Deviated, so that was right from the start, because I didn't know about tracks and DJ International and all that stuff.
Okay, cool.
So I had a record out before I discovered it.
That would definitely kind of encourage you to not have to work within the constraints of a record label.
Well, there's a freedom in it, because you don't have to, say if you have something that's just going over every label on the planet, going over their head, I mean, you're kind of stuck. So at least with your own kind of outlet, you know, you have the freedom to take the chance yourself. I mean, it comes along with the financial risk, but that's what you do when you say you're confident. You put your money where your mouth is, as they say.
And how's Alleviated going at the moment?
I'm trying to get things kind of moving, because I've been kind of, you know, in and out of town, and so pretty much things have a tendency to come to a standstill when I'm not there.
Yeah.
Kind of kicking a few people and what have you, you know, staying on them. So I'm really trying to organize a staff, like a writing staff, to kind of keep songs churning. Because I can come up with lots of grooves and, you know, musical ideas, but I'm a little slower with lyrics and things like that. You know. Robert pretty much took care of that when we were working together, but, you know, everybody's not as prolific as he is. Pretty much anything you put in front of him, he starts singing to it.
Yeah. In the context of like digital downloads, and, you know, say you spoke earlier about saving up lunch money to go to the record shop to buy 45s. Nowadays, with the internet and things like that, it's become a lot more of an open forum for music. Like, what's your take on the whole idea of downloading and selling music in that kind of form?
I think it just, you know, gives people another option as, you know, medium.
Yeah.
And for me, definitely, since I've been buying records since I was 9 years old, I accumulated a nice little amount that I just did not have space for. So I'd be giving away 20 and 30 crates of records at a time just to make space.
Yeah.
And I'm still buying new stuff, and somewhere along the line you start getting promotional copies from labels and things like that, so it tends to pile up, and vinyl takes a lot more space than an MP3 file. You can kind of cram them all on a hard disk, you know, and they're conveniently there.
You know, things have obviously, you know, from 1984, the beginning of like the whole house sound, there's been so many different offshoots up to date where, like, you know, the very essence of the sound would still be house, but it would go different directions. And one of the directions has been this whole kind of minimal sound that has kind of come to the fore in the last couple of years, and really is derivative of producers like yourself, DJ Pierre, like Todd Terry, people like that. Like, what's your kind of take on that? Do you have any sort of interest in that sort of sound, or?
Well, actually, if you kind of sent me somewhere and say pick out a minimal record, I couldn't do it. Though all the titles that are slapped on it, I know they serve a purpose to try to describe the music to people. But for me, I mean, like maybe around 87, 88, when all these different alleged new genres started popping out of the UK, it was too confusing for me. I just stopped buying completely because I didn't understand what was going on. And just from childhood, I was just accustomed to hearing music and deciding I liked it. Not anybody slapping the title on it to kind of sway it.
And do you find that like what you're saying, because there's so many different titles being so many pigeonholes just developing, do you find it hard to, like, are you still actively like trying to hear as much music as possible, like, or is there things that you can kind of see and say, no, I won't really like that, or labels like you won't really like?
Well, when I hear it, my ears will tell me whether I like it or not, no matter what the genre title may say. You know, it could be reggae, it could be classical, it could be blues, it could be anything.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
If it sounds good, it's more important than what genre it is.
Cool. As regards other producers and stuff, at the moment, like what sort of producers are...
Now that's the hard question.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many that it's just confusing.
Yeah.
And
is there any
my memory is not what it used to be, you know, being my age now. I can hear a name 10 minutes ago and not remember it. So of course I just can't really name. The names I can name would be the ones who've been consistently around, like the Blazes and Osalades and Louis Vegas and people like that, consistently there. Let's see, Ame would be a good one. Rasmus Faber.
Yeah.
I can maybe say a couple of names. But
so like that kind of inner versions, kind of new take on kind of deep house would be...
maybe not every song, but there's even within camps. Like for me, I like Stevie Wonder, but not every selection.
And
it's kind of, that applies to every artist. Certain things draw me in, and others, you know, kind of not really caring.
Okay. Last of all, like studio-wise at the moment, you mentioned earlier about playing drums and stuff. Like, is a lot of the stuff you're making at the moment, like what sort of stuff are you using? Are you using like live drums and bass, and like what sort of
bass
software?
or live, where I'm living at, it's not conducive to having a set of drums there, but I can integrate some bass and guitar and different percussion kind of things, you know. And you know, well, when I can kind of get some musicians rounded up together, then maybe that'll kind of more come into the picture. But just finding people who, you know, you can find people to do one thing, but then people to be consistent, you know, and, you know, always kind of be dependable. That's not easy.
And what sort of, like, are you still using your old hardware gear, or have you moved on into kind of the
I kind of use a mixture of everything.
Yeah.
If it works, you know.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And last of all, like, is there any plans in the pipeline at all for like more Fingers Inc. kind of stuff, or?
Not at the moment. I mean, Robert wants me to help him, you know, on an album project he's working on right now. That's pretty much the closest to that at the moment.
Cool.
There are some Fingers Inc. stuff in the archives, though, stuff we recorded that never came out. We pretty much always recorded a bunch of things and then picked what we felt was the best one, you know, to put out. So yeah, we would easily record 20 things and pick one out of it. So there's a lot of stuff sitting there. Trying to figure out what to do with, how to kind of, I'm thinking maybe alleviated archives kind of stuff, because there's a lot of stuff in there.
Okay, cool. And then the next next couple of months, what's kind of on your agenda? Are you traveling around doing a lot of gigs?
A few more trips. I thought I was going to get up to Chicago and record with Harry Dennis in July, kind of get some IT stuff off the ground, but it looks like I'll be traveling, so that won't happen. So I guess it's as good as anybody as far as when it's going to happen. I have to be there for it to happen.
Cool. And do you have any sort of festivals or anything kind of lined up over the summer months?
I know there's one in Amsterdam. I can't name it. There's so many festivals around the globe. There's no way I could even remember all the names.
Cool. Well, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, and thanks a million. Great to meet you.